Hey, how about you bitches?
Please like and comment on this video and subscribe to the AWF network here on YouTube for more AWF content, and don't forget to hit that fucking bell for notifications anytime content is posted.
Call All-Stars, making greatness since 2009.
And tonight, AWF Uprising Episode 1 has happened.
We live in a cold, dark world with venom in its fangs. You can spit it in my face, but I know I'll be okay. It's on the attack, it's a war, it's a game. A ball and chain, chew my arm off to get away. Don't fight it or deny it, invite it. 'Cause when it feels like a kick in the teeth, I can take it. Throw your stones and you won't see me break it. Say what you want, take your shot, setting me free with one more kick in the teeth. Na 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 na. I gotta say thanks, 'cause you kicked me when I'm down. I'm bleeding out the mouth. I hope you know I'm stronger now. I'm taking the hate, I'm turning it all around. I won't go down till I'm 6 feet underground. Don't fight it or deny it, invite it. 'Cause when it feels like a kick in the teeth, I can take it. Throw your stones and you won't see me break it. Say what you want, take your shots, setting me free with one more kick in the teeth. Na 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 na. Feels like a kick in the teeth, I can take it. Throw your stones and you won't see me break it. Say what you want, take your shots, setting me free with one more kick in the teeth. Na 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 na. Kick in the teeth. Na 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 na.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the final episode of AWF Uprising. My name is Philip Ontario, and I'm being joined tonight by Antoine Princeton. Antoine, we got a hell of a card for tonight.
Indeed we do. The final edition of AWF Uprising, and there's a whole lot of grudge matches on deck for this one.
Absolutely. The matches we have on track for you guys, this is CPV quality. So we're getting it tonight, the final stop before Glory Days 6. And we're kicking things off with the AWF World Champion, Brian Stone.
Brian Stone, the cause of pretty much the straight-up mayhem we've seen this entire season. The leader of the Killer Clan Prophecy and the man who will be going on to the main event of Glory Days to defend against Rumble winner TJ Nicholson. The destiny, the fate of AWF, it could be argued, lies in this man's hands.
Absolutely. And Brian Stone is not here tonight to rest. He's here to fight. He's going to go up against former World Heavyweight Champion JMI. That's a first-time ever singles match between those two, although they have been at odds for the past couple months in this rivalry, this divide here on Uprising of the Killer Clan Prophecy and those who have been willing to stand up to the Killer Clan Prophecy. Now we're going to see them go head-to-head tonight. Brian Stone walking in, trying to send a final message to TJ Nicholson before they clash at Glory Days.
And what a hell of a statement to make if Brian Stone can pull off a win against arguably the most decorated performer in AWF history in JMI.
Absolutely, and TJ Nicholson, he's not on the bench tonight either. He's going to be competing in the main event against Mason Kronik, who we saw aligned himself alongside the Punisher Fisk with the Killer Clan Prophecy, and many people have speculated that the addition of Mason Kronik and Fisk may have truly made the AWF champion unstoppable.
Mason Kronik and Fisk have been adversaries of Brian Stone in the past, so, adding those two major gets for the Killer Clan Prophecy. But let's see if this man can put the first dent in Brian Stone's armor.
We know he was a part of the effort to take down the Killer Clan Prophecy back at Survivor Series in that War Games matchup. JMI on the opposing team, and himself alongside TJ Nicholson, AJ Young, and John Blackos, they were able to pick up the victory. And speaking of AJ Young is coming down to the ring with JMI.
Indeed, JMI, to probably been mentioned in the past, pretty much got thrust into this. He's been the biggest X factor in this entire situation. JMI was still on Superstar Mayhem. He'd probably be going after the world title that he lost to Ben Hopkins at CyberSlam. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Getting transferred over to Uprising, thrown in this entire situation. And again, to his credit, he has been a team player for AJ Young, TJ Nicholson, and John Blackos. But given JMI's reputation and history, the question is for how long?
Absolutely. And right now, JMI and AJ Young on the same page. Although AJ Young, he was unsure in our last episode of Uprising if he could trust JMI given his history, given their history with one another. But they're going to have to try and find a way, because they're going to be challenging the Disciples for the World Tag Team Championships at Glory Days 6.
Indeed, the two most decorated performers in AWF history going up against the most decorated tag team in AWF history. But tonight, it's singles action. It is Brian Stone, non-title action against JMI.
Here we go. Brian Stone is ready, and JMI is too.
JMI usually the one baiting his opponent. This time, Brian Stone baiting JMI, but JMI on the offense early on in this matchup with quite a few chops.
Excellent drop kick there by the former world champion. Notice Benaya and Apollo's not out here. Reverend Joseph out here, but no Benaya and Apollo's. But as we have seen before over the last several years here on Uprising, they're never too far behind.
Indeed, AJ Young showing up to support his tag team partner at Glory Days, hoping to counteract whatever shenanigans Brian Stone, the Killer Clan Prophecy, and Reverend Joseph have in store.
JMI biting there onto the... Brian Stone does have a mask on, but he's able to bite a little bit. And now Reverend Joseph on the apron, trying to distract JMI.
And Blanger roll pretty early, and Brian Stone now taking advantage as he's just clawing the sides of JMI's temples.
Viciously threw him down, and now gonna follow it up with some stomps to the back.
Rapid fire to JMI, and JMI getting to the outside of the ring for a breather. Brian Stone not letting him rest for long.
Is the JMI and Brian Stone now fighting on the outside. JMI could be in trouble as he gets sent right into the barricade.
Uranagi right into the barricade. Brian Stone using that environment to his advantage. Of course, Brian Stone being a former Extreme champion.
Now getting JMI back into the ring. JMI could be in trouble here as he gets to his feet.
He gets sent right back down.
Also, we should point out here, AJ Young not just here tonight to be in the corner of JMI. He is also in action a little bit later on tonight. A first time ever encounter of his own against United States champion Lewis Rivers.
And Brian Stone with a pop-up shot to JMI and flipping off the crowd in the process.
This is not looking good right now for JMI. This is going exactly the way that Brian Stone had hoped that it would. But as soon as I say that, JMI fighting back.
JMI indeed with a set of strikes, showing life that we have not seen since the very early part of this matchup. And one interesting tidbit to note, last week AJ Young and JMI were bickering, among other things, the name of their tag team. But AJ Young did say there may be something JMI could do to maybe mend fences between the two. And so far, no clue as to what that favor might be.
Yeah, we don't know. Will we get some answer to that tonight? Will we get some answers at Glory Days? We may not get an answer at all. I mean, look, I know JMI is trying to show AJ Young that he can trust him, that they can be on the same page. But it is JMI after all.
Indeed, Brian Stone with the elbow right to the neck.
And that could be enough.
Attempt on JMI.
The AWF champion frustrated, but JMI able to get the shoulder up. And he's sent back down, clothesline to the back of the head.
And Brian Stone going right back for the pin. Wise moving JMI out again at one.
Again with that elbow to the back of the head. JMI has been on the receiving end of so many vicious strikes by the world champion.
For someone as accomplished as JMI, Brian Stone has dominated the majority of this match so far.
It's a very different situation for JMI here. Yes, they've crossed paths a few times, specifically back at Survivor Series, but never in a one-on-one encounter. And you got to wonder if that is playing a role here tonight. JMI, maybe he wasn't unable to properly prepare for this matchup. Oh my good God.
What a haymaker right hand from Brian Stone, and that might be all she wrote. And JMI powering out at 2.
You got to give JMI some credit here. He is fighting back. He is staying in the fight. He keeps kicking out and trying to find a way. But he has been on the receiving end of a hell of a beating here as these guys take it to the outside once again.
And that beating might just very well continue. Wait, Brian Stone going for an eye poke, and JMI sending Brian Stone gut first into the announce table.
Now into the barricade.
not entitled, but JMI does need to be mindful of the referee's count. His referee's out the count of 6, and JMI looking to go airborne.
Oh my God, missile drop kick from the top.
Now JMI with the clothesline to follow up.
Suplex by JMI. These two men have been staples of the Uprising brand over the years. Brian Stone, you mentioned it earlier, Extreme Champion, now the AWF Champion, leader of the Killer Clan Prophecy. JMI, I mean, many years ago, he was a member of the Kings of Call, had held great battles with Danny Hardy, and now back here on Uprising after winning the World Heavyweight Championship on Superstar Mayhem, and now trying to become World Tag Team Champion once again, this time with AJ Young, and he has that chance at Glory Days.
And again, no love lost between JMI and AJ Young, but you know, trying to work towards a common goal, at least as Brian Stone with another right hand, going for the eye poke again, and JMI course corrects and follows up with the DDT.
Wait a minute. Pile driver.
One of the most dangerous moves in all of wrestling. And Brian Stone, the AWF champion, is dazed.
Now into the cover after that pump handle driver, but only a 2 count.
And JMI sort of in disbelief as far as what to do, but he's looking to go back up top.
Frog splash from the top, the cover. Does he have it? No.
And what a momentum builder, what a boost it would be for JMI going into this World Tag Team title match to defeat the leader of the Killer Clan Prophecy heading into that encounter. Now Brian Stone taunting both JMI and AJ Young.
And he's taking his time here, not rushing to get back into the ring. Now back in. The referee getting that steel chair out of here. The Reverend Joseph brought that into the ring.
Oh no, we know what might happen here. Is Brian Stone gonna pull out the mist? JMI, watch your back.
Oh dear God. And I think the referee had his eye on Reverend Joseph there. So I think he missed the mist, and that should do it.
Punt kick, it may be all over. And no!
Brian Stone thought he had it. He thought after that punt kick, JMI was done, but JMI still has a little bit of life left.
Well, maybe not after those left-hand shots and a DDT. But JMI, you gotta imagine the vision definitely impaired at this point, and that is what Brian Stone is looking to capitalize on.
Big lariat there by Brian Stone.
You know, JMI knows every dirty trick in the book, with Brian Stone playing his game arguably better than him at this point.
Bounces head off the turnbuckle, putting him up on the top rope.
Now JMI kicking him right down. Again with the jumping DDT, managing to buy himself time with the imperfect. And there goes that damn Reverend Joseph again.
Oh, man. And, oh, my God, another punt kick to the head. Oh, no. Flatline.
And that might be all she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. And it is.
Like I said earlier, you got to give JMI credit. He put up an incredible fight. He kept fighting back. But the damage that Brian Stone dished out, the assist that Reverend Joseph provided, 2 punt kicks and that flatline.
There was an idea to bring together a group of remarkable people.
To see if we could become something more.
So when they needed us,
we could fight the battles
that they never could.
I am inevitable.
And live from Buffalo, New York, it's Late Night with Luke Andrews. Featuring a very special guest. And now, here's Luke Andrews.
Well, it is everyone's favorite time once again. It is time for another edition of Late Night with Uncle Luke. And I am your host, your master of ceremonies, Uncle Luke Andrews. How is everybody doing tonight? We got ourselves an incredible, titillating match coming up soon between John Blackos and a man that I have in the studio with me tonight. But first, let's talk about a few things. First, I want to acknowledge our Extreme Champion, James Needham, who I am here to announce has also recently won another championship. On the house show circuit, James Needham has recently won the AWF Spelling Bee Championship. So congratulations to Mr. Needham for your luxurious, voluptuous award. And now it's time to introduce our guest. You may know him as the Punisher. You may know him as a psycho killer. You may know him as the most dangerous man in the AWF, but I know him as simply him. It is Fisk. Fisk, buddy, how are you? Wonderful. Just as boisterous and talkative as ever. Time for the ad break, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight's episode of Late Night with Luke is brought to you by Call All Stars World Tour. Let's go over this ad reel. It seems as though, let's read this correctly, AJ Young, Adam Jackpot, and Fisk are going up against Ego and Jay. Oh, I know all about those butterfaces, those slap asses, those pole smokers, if you will. And let me tell you, I know a thing or two about smoking poles. But let's go over this matchup because I'm being paid to. Let's talk about these tag team partners, AJ Young and Adam Jackpot. You know, you got a name going here. You've got AJ Young, you've got Adam Jackpot, you've got a Fisk. The A's, if you will. It feels a little bit weird. I've had some strange encounters with these men. It is very odd, and I smell weed and jalapenos from here right off the bat. But we're gonna get through that because we have to defeat the evil. If you listen, those different folk, Ego and Jay, need to be put down. They need to be defeated. And this man right here is going to tell you what's going to happen. I've been linked to each and every one of you throughout my career. At World Tour, I prove once and for all that your greatest creation will also be your greatest nightmare, as I put Ego and Jay into one shallow grave. Ooh, spooky! Well, enter our promo code BUTTAFACE to get a discount on Call All Stars World Tour when it arrives on your screen soon. And now, let's talk about that man, James Needham. Fisk, I know you've got an important match going up later on against that Cassandra denier, John Blackos. But real quickly, your thoughts on Needham before we get into Glory Days. I don't know how many times I need to say it. I wanted to be done. I wanted to just be comfortable, be a version of myself, and never put the mask back on again. But you dragged me out of this abyss. You reawoke the monster, and now you will deal with the consequences of your own actions. See, this isn't a fake clown show state that gives people slaps on the wrist every time they do misdeeds. When you commit a sin against the Punisher, you pay the price. And the price of your actions is not only losing your Extreme Championship, not only getting embarrassed on the biggest stage of your career and in the history of this company, but I will walk out of Glory Days as the new Extreme Champion. James Needham will walk out a pile of blood, flesh, and bones. Come Glory Days, this isn't going to be a match. This isn't going to be a fight. This isn't going to be a beatdown. No, you are going to witness a live execution of James Needham come Glory Days 6. And this is entirely your doing. That, my friends, is what you call an angry man. You can check out Glory Days 6 on YouTube very soon for Fisk versus James Needham. But now, this bad Punisher's got himself a Blackos to prepare for. Good night, everybody!
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Uprising. We had yet another edition of Late Night with Luke Andrews, and certainly Luke Andrews had a lot to say, but his alter ego, Fisk, is going to be in action next, going up against this man right here, one half of the Call All-Stars World Tag Team Champions, John Blackos.
John Blackos indeed, and at Glory Days, John Blackos will be challenging one more time for the United States Championship against his longtime adversary, Lewis Rivers, and not just any match, but inside Hell in a Cell.
Absolutely. Wait a minute, hold on. I think that's the Punisher.
Punisher obviously upset about the events of AFC Championship weekend.
He's taking it out on John Blackos here. I don't even remember if John said anything, but it doesn't matter. He's on the receiving end of a hell of a beatdown.
And Fisk treating John Blackos like he was Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, dear God. Dropped him face first on the ring apron. And folks, I don't know. I can't recall, but I believe that this is also a first-time ever matchup between these two. Two men who have been part of the AWF for a very long time. Two men who have been part of this industry for a very long time. And they've only had a few encounters, but I don't think any of those encounters have been in the ring in a singles competition.
And John Blackos already operating at less than 100% as Fisk hits a code breaker. John Blackos already operating at less than 100% going into this match tonight. Probably the worst case scenario, and then having to go inside Hell in a Cell. I think he just got busted wide open.
It's been a very
that haymaker.
Yeah, it's been a very busy last few months for John Blackos. Of course, he was on the receiving end of a vicious backstage assault by Mason Kronik. When he returned to the AWF, we didn't know at the time, we now know, and that's part of the reason why he's bandaged up. Him and TJ Nicholson were able to win the Call All-Stars World Tag Team Championships shortly thereafter that, and then we saw on our last edition of Uprising, John and TJ faced off against Mason Kronik and Fisk, and they were able to walk out with the titles because that match ended by disqualification, and John was on a massive beatdown by the Punisher, and now Fisk is beating him up again, and he still has Hell in a Cell coming up, folks.
May not be for long, as Fisk is, I don't think John Blackos got a single move of offense in thus far.
John Blackos, for a long time now, he's been the heart and soul of the Uprising brand, and a lot of people, love John Blackos. They cheer him on because of this fighting spirit, but it is taking a toll on him, and one has to wonder, is he going to be able to even make it to Glory Days? I mean, he's certainly not going to make it at 100%.
Definitely not at this point, but John Blackos, you mentioned that fighting spirit. He's going to give it all he's got here tonight against Fisk.
Very angry Fisk. We saw Fisk return to form as, he's on the receiving end of a drop kick back at the Royal Rumble. Laid out the Extreme Champion James Needham. And James Needham, he didn't take that lying down. He came back, and he's ready for a fight with the Punisher, and he's going to get that chance at Glory Days. That's going to be a casket match, folks.
Indeed, Fisk challenging for the Extreme Championship, which is as close as anybody from Buffalo is going to get to a championship for a long time.
Now, be that as it may, as John now, the Northern Lights with Fisk kicking out. Fisk, the first ever Extreme Champion in the AWF, would like to hold that championship one more time, has the chance to do it. He's just going to have to lay James Needham to rest at Glory Days.
John Blackos looking to hurt his chances of doing that here tonight, as just strike after strike after strike. Fisk in the corner, danger zone.
What does he have in mind here with Fisk on the top? John Blackos up there too. Falcon Arrow.
Falcon Arrow from the French Phenom.
He doesn't go in for the cover though. Fisk is down. This is the chance for John to try and capitalize.
Indeed, John with the diving clothesline of Fisk. Finally showing some signs of life in this matchup. Fisk slowly rising to his feet.
Now, wait a minute. FBC.
FBC from John Blackos. Looking to get the pin against the Punisher. And no.
John Blackos, he can't believe it. He thought he might have had it there. And I think John, he's bleeding as well. He's got a hell of a open wound on his face.
The clothesline not helping matters at all. And Fisk with the Superman punch.
And that could do it right there.
And John, to his credit, fighting out of the Superman punch at 2. But how much could that one shot have taken out of the former United States champion?
Now John Blackos dropped again. You can see he is feeling the pain of this matchup. Big senton by Fisk.
That's his third one of the match. That's a 270-pound man diving at you full force.
These are two former AWF world champions colliding, and Fisk was looking for Dark Void.
Dark Void indeed, and John Blackos managed to fight his way out.
There's the stunner.
French stunner from John Blackos.
Fisk was able to get up to his feet pretty quickly, though, and I think John was caught off guard by that.
Caught off guard indeed, but this is John Blackos' time to capitalize. If he has any hope of getting out of this match and getting his way to Glory Days. Oh, there's a super kick right to Fisk.
Now heading up to the top rope. Big crossbody by John Blackos. Here we go.
John, 2 clotheslines. And splash in the corner.
Big Clothesline, and John Blackos up on his feet. Things are turning in his direction here. Can he put the Punisher down here tonight on Uprising?
Given how this match started, it would be quite an upset if he did.
And there's the SOS. John realized that Fisk was near the bottom rope, didn't follow that up with the cover.
That's a good observation. John Blackos usually does follow up that SOS with a pin attempt, but he's going for the 450 and misses.
He went crashing and burning. Big clothesline there by Fisk.
Fisk with some clotheslines of his own, and this is not looking good for John Blackos at all. What a super kick.
Not every day you see that from Fisk. Dishing it out tonight. And could he be setting up for the end?
There's a pop-up power bomb, and that might be it for John Blackos.
And John able to get the shoulder up somehow, some way.
John Blackos, he's been fighting out the Kill Acclaim prophecy from the very beginning. So this match against Fisk is just another hurdle that he has to overcome, but how much more can he take is the question.
Oh my God, another powerbomb, this time a sit-out powerbomb. You know, at one time, John Blackos, he was the AWF champion. He was the Call All-Stars champion. He lost that Call All-Stars championship to Lewis Rivers. He lost the AWF championship to Brian Stone. And now, going into Glory Days, trying to win a championship that he has won before, the AWF United States Championship, trying to become a 3-time United States champion.
To my understanding, he'd be the first in the title's lineage to do so.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
But the way it's looking in this match, that might become more of a pipe dream than anything is Fisk with the DDT.
Now Fisk off the ropes, so waiting for another senton, but John was able to get the knees up this time.
He got his foot up that time.
Sends Fisk into the corner. Big clothesline.
Indeed, Fisk rolling to the outside of the ring, but that's not stopping John Blackos at all. Flying clothesline.
And now John gets him back in.
Indeed. You got to imagine, win or lose, the United States champion, Lewis Rivers, is happy with how this match is proceeding. Just taking more damage out of his future challenger. And speak of the devil.
There he is. We've seen this before. This is Shades of the Royal Rumble. Lewis Rivers on the outside. And John Blackos, he notices, he sees the U.S. champion out there. Uh-oh.
Oh, no, this is the worst possible position for John Blackos to be in. Dark Void.
And that's got to do it. And 3. Fisk picks up the victory over John Blackos here on Uprising, thanks to the assist there by Lewis Rivers.
Say his name and he appears. And Fisk goes into Glory Days looking to take that Extreme Championship from James Needham.
Fisk standing tall tonight. And wait a minute, hold on. There's the Extreme Champion. There's James Needham. James Needham with the chair in hand, going after the Punisher. And he hit him in the head with the chair. This is all going to be legal in the casket match.
Indeed, it's only going to end when one man gets buried. And James Needham sending Fisk and himself over the top rope.
Fisk, who has blamed James Needham for everything that's happened to him over these last couple months, not taking the accountability on himself, and James Needham has had enough of it. He knows what Fisk can be, and he has taken the fight. He is the Extreme Champion for a reason. And oh man, this is not good.
Not good at all. And the Punisher is in very dangerous territory.
Oh my good God! Just pile drove the Punisher through the table.
And the Punisher is motionless before our very eyes. Oh, I spoke too soon.
We'll see what happens when they face off for the Extreme Championship in a casket match at Glory Days. But folks, we're going to go to our next Hall of Fame inductee video right now. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Uprising. JMI getting the nod for the AWF Hall of Fame. And now we await the arrival of the man he's going to be teaming with at Glory Days. Former World Heavyweight Champion, AJ Young.
AJ Young, the man who really put the first, gave the Killer Clan Prophecy their first really big loss. He was the man that scored the winning fall at War Games. He was the man that did all this for the AWF Championship. And of course, the Disciples costing him that championship. But he goes into this match tonight against another champion in his own right, the United States champion, Lewis Rivers.
Antoine, I'm noticing two things right now. One, he is wearing the T-shirt. He is wearing the T-shirt that JMI introduced in the last edition of Uprising. But there's no JMI. JMI is not out here with AJ Young.
That is an odd predicament. JMI brought AJ Young as backup for his match against Prime Stone, obviously in a losing effort. So AJ Young, bold man, choosing to go here alone against Lewis Rivers.
And one has to wonder what is the reason behind that. Was that AJ Young's call? Did he say that he wanted to do this on his own? Was JMI, was he hurt from his match earlier on tonight, unable to make his way out here? Or maybe JMI is nowhere to be found. We don't know. But what we do know is AJ Young is out here by himself, and it appears that the United States champion is not out here by himself.
Not at all. The face of First Class, the Kansas City Kingpin, the man riding high into a championship match at Glory Days, much like his Kansas City Chiefs to the Super Bowl. And he's flanked by both members of the Disciples.
Well, just like the Kansas City Chiefs, he can't do it on his own, having a little bit of help with him here tonight. Benaya and Apollo's coming down to the ring, and we have seen over the course of the past couple months, Lewis Rivers not officially a member of the Killer Clan Prophecy, but he has certainly made his allegiances known. He is certainly, they have some form of an alliance here, on the same page, and we've seen Lewis Rivers, we just saw Lewis Rivers assisting Fisk in that match against John Blackos, and now Benaya and Apollo's out here to give the assist, you gotta believe, to him in this matchup with AJ Young.
And that makes it all the more peculiar that AJ Young is out here alone, especially in a 3-on-1 scenario. John Blackos obviously not at 100%. And it's worth noting that despite, AJ Young accompanying JMI for his match against Brian Stone, AJ Young was virtually a non-factor in that match.
That's a great point, and especially because Reverend Joseph very much was a factor in that matchup. At no point did AJ Young get involved, and And look, we don't know. Maybe that was done intentionally. Maybe it was, hey, let me handle this on my own kind of deal. But it makes you wonder, especially with JMI not out here at all, not even offering any kind of, emotional and moral support. AJ Young very much is going at it on his own here. And this is not a new thing. He has been at odds with the Killer Clan Prophecy for months. He knows how they operate.
Indeed, AJ Young holding his own against Lewis Rivers, the United States champion. AJ Young has the experience advantage, forfeiting quite a bit of height and forfeiting the man advantage as we're seeing right now.
And Benaya on the apron, distracted AJ Young. You had to know this was going to happen here. Once the Disciples came out here, you had to believe that they were going to play a role in this matchup because we've seen it time and time again over the years, and they've been very effective no matter who they've been aligned with over the years. Now recently aligning themselves with Brian Stone, and we saw the assist that they've been able to provide Brian Stone in his quest to become AWF champion, who is now the champion headed into the main event of Glory Days.
Indeed, and if it weren't for the Disciples, it might have been AJ Young heading into the main event of Glory Days, something that he, stated was his intent to get back to from, pretty much the start of the season, from when he lost the AWF World Heavyweight Championship, and the Disciples made sure that didn't happen.
And that's what led to the Tag Team Championship match being set for Glory Days. Now AJ Young getting dropped back first with that back suplex on the apron.
Reminder, folks, first time ever matchup between these two. Lewis Rivers just punting AJ Young right in the skull.
And referee is yelling at these guys to get back into the ring.
And I don't think Lewis Rivers has any intent on making that happen.
Oh, dear God.
German suplex. AJ Young landing neck first on the entranceway.
Oh, speaking of neck first, dear God, sit out pile driver on the ramp.
And that doesn't look good for AJ Young at all. And this result might be academic from this point on. The United States champion bringing AJ Young back to the ring.
Super kick, down he goes, and that could be it right there.
AJ Young kicking out of the Swifty super kick. Lewis Rivers, the United States champion, again going to defend his championship against John Blackos at Glory Days inside Hell in a Cell. And looking to make quick work of AJ Young tonight, apparently.
You mentioned it earlier, this is a first time ever match between these two. We saw them have an exchange of words on our last edition of Uprising. They acknowledged that fact. This is a match that we've heard people talk about for a very long time, specifically when Lewis Rivers was the Call All-Stars World Champion. People compared his run to when AJ Young was the Call All-Stars World Champion. It was a match that we thought maybe we would see, maybe we won't see. And we're seeing it here tonight on Uprising.
Indeed, AJ Young made a point. Lewis Rivers has had an impressive career, but at the end of the day, he firmly believes that it is him, not Lewis Rivers, that's the face of the AWF. And he's looking to prove that point, but Lewis Rivers so far had the advantage for a lot of this match.
Yes, he has. I believe AJ Young is busted open.
Indeed, he is.
He keeps getting sent back first into the turnbuckle. AJ Young, I think he walked into this match tonight probably as close as one can be to 100%. He's certainly far from that now.
And look at the Disciples not even giving him an ounce of reprieve, just tossing him back into the ring.
That's the benefit of having them out here.
Oh, AJ was going for a strike, and Lewis just knees him right in the face.
Absolutely vicious knees there by Lewis Rivers. We saw AJ Young's tag team partner, JMI, was on the receiving end of those several weeks ago when JMI challenged for the United States Championship. A bloody matchup that was, when Lewis retained the championship. And now German suplex with the bridge.
AJ Young fighting his way out of this. AJ Young has dropped quite a bit of blood over the last few weeks. And, you know, again, it was the Lewis Rivers going for a spinning back fist.
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, obviously, he had that matchup with Brian Stone for the AWF Championship. He was in War Games. In fact, AJ Young was the one who picked up the victory for his team in that matchup.
Started out for his team.
Absolutely. He was in there from the beginning to the end and found a way to walk out with the victory. I mean, even before all this kicked off, AJ Young, he was the Extreme Champion. He was taking Extreme Championship matches every week.
Indeed, proving himself to be a fighting champion. And AJ Young with the brain buster. We've seen him hit quite a bit of those in his day.
Oh, here it is.
Guaranteed DDT.
And that, is it going to be? No. Lewis Rivers able to get the shoulder up.
And AJ Young kind of, you know, threw himself in this situation out of respect for John Blackos and TJ Nicholson. Definitely wasn't in the crosshairs of the Killer Clan Prophecy at all. But, you know, joined this fight out of respect for John Blackos, TJ Nicholson. Joined the fight to become the AWF champion. And while that may not have happened, he has the tag team titles in his sights with JMI, who, you know, hopefully that's still the case.
And look at this. AJ Young, he has turned his attention to the Disciples here, arguing with Benaya and Apollos. Lewis Rivers back in the ring, going after AJ.
And it was a member of the Disciples that AJ Young pinned to win War Games in the first place, which kind of upped the ante in this entire rivalry between AJ Young and the Disciples.
Lewis Rivers again sent out to the floor. AJ Young talking a little bit of trash to Lewis as he gets to his feet, and oh my God!
AJ Young going airborne as he's been known to do. He sticks the landing. I haven't seen more airtime since Saquon Barkley hurdling over grown men. AJ looking to get a little bit of more airtime.
Oh my goodness, Famouser from the top rope.
AJ Young hitting the Heisman one more time. It looks like he's about to hit something else. Young Disaster.
And that should do it right there. AJ's going to pick up the victory. Wait a minute.
And again, the Disciples providing the distraction. As we're at pretty much a 10 count at this point. Referee finally going for the count.
Lewis able to get the shoulder up, but like you said, the referee was distracted. That should have picked up the victory for AJ Young. And AJ arguing with the referee, stating that, but he took his eye off of Lewis.
The super kick right to the back of the skull. And this is absolute worst case scenario for AJ Young, all alone. Not able to counteract the interference from the Disciples.
And look, this is exactly what we saw when we kicked off Uprising tonight. Brian Stone, he had the advantage. He had Reverend Joseph distracting JMI. That led to JMI losing that matchup. We could see the exact same fate here to AJ Young.
And this has not been a good night for AJ Young, John Blackos, CJ Nicholson, or JMI thus far. JMI lost his match. John Blackos lost his match. AJ Young looking to avoid that same fate.
Now into the cover. That should do it.
1, 2, and no!
You've seen Lewis pick up the victory so many times with that check cutter, but not tonight. AJ Young still in this, but for how much longer?
Maybe not much longer, getting turned inside out with that clothesline. Lewis Rivers going for the spinning back fist.
forth between these two former Call All-Stars World Heavyweight Champions.
Luis Rivers was using his size to his advantage. AJ Young trying to find some sort of reprieve. And the disrespect from the United States Champion, just slapping AJ Young right in the face.
Oh, dear God. Vicious double foot stomp to the back of the head.
And AJ Young might be, I think he is out.
Hey, wait a minute, that's John Blackos.
Oh, the man will be challenging Luis Rivers at Glory Days, hits the FBC.
And now going after Apollos. He's looking for fade to Blackos.
And he hits it. He just dropped both the tag team champions.
Luis Rivers, he saw that. He saw what happened. He saw his backup got laid out.
And AJ Young might have laid Luis Rivers out with a guaranteed DDT. Finally, some assistance for AJ Young.
Oh, here we go.
Redemption Road.
And into the cover. Is that enough?
And it is.
AJ Young picking up the victory tonight over Luis Rivers. John Blackos providing the last minute assist to help him out, to help try and even the odds here. AJ Young has defeated the United States Champion here on Uprising.
Indeed, might not have had JMI when he needed him, but luckily John Blackos was around. Oh, speaking of JMI.
Wait, and look who he has. He has Reverend Joseph in hand.
Obviously upset about earlier. Reverend Joseph playing a pivotal role in his loss earlier tonight to Brian Stone.
And the disciples are still laid out on the floor, folks.
Reverend Joseph has been the architect of the Killer Clan prophecy, pivotal to the rise of the disciples. Oh no.
He can't. Is he going to do what I mean, not to Reverend Joseph. We've seen him do this to so many people over the years.
And it looks like Reverend Joseph might be next on the list. Oh no, this is not looking good.
Oh my God, no way!
Oh my God! Brainbuster on the exposed turnbuckle to Reverend Joseph.
Yeah, I'm still in the zone. You know the feeling, team needs you for the win. Did it before, for sure could do it again.
Was that the favor that AJ Young was talking about?
It might be. I mean, they seem to be on the same page right now.
That spells bad news for the tag team champions. JMI and AJ Young heading to Glory Days looking to claim tag team gold.
Folks, we're going to see that matchup at Glory Days 6, and we got a hell of a card for you for that event in Philadelphia. Let's run down what we're going to see at Glory Days. We're going to see the $1 Million Championship decided in a 20-man Royal Rumble matchup. Several AWF stars, past, present, anyone can show up in this matchup. Who's going to show up and who's going to walk out with the $1 Million Championship? And also, the AWF Tag Team Championships will be on the line. The East Coast Connection defend against Adam Jackpot and the Problem, Kobe Vincent.
Vincent Mob assemble because we have a problem.
The Internet Championship will be on the line. Zaya Steele defends the title against the man who he's been at odds with since the Royal Rumble. The answer, Tommy Fenn. In a fatal four-way matchup, the Junior Heavyweight Championship will be on the line. Alex James defends his championship against GMR, Al Cabrera, and Connor Green. And the match we were just talking about, the World Tag Team Championship, will be on the line. The Disciples defend their titles against AJ Young and JMI. And it will be held in an ambulance match. The Call All-Stars World Heavyweight Champion will defend his championship against Kevin Cross. The Punisher Fisk is on his quest to win back the Extreme Championship from James Needham. To do that, he's got to put him in a casket match. James Needham Fisk at Glory Days 6. Lewis Rivers will defend the United States Championship against his arch rival. One last time, John Blackos will face Lewis Rivers with the U.S. Championship on the line. And the main event on the Superstar Mayhem side of things, World Heavyweight Champion Ben Hopkins defends his championship against the $1 Million Champion who cashed that opportunity at Malik Brown and his former friend, Scott McShannon. Certainly, last but not least, the main event, Philadelphia Street Fight. Brian Stone defends the AWF Championship against the winner of the Royal Rumble, TJ Nicholson. Who will prevail? Who will it be? The Killer Clan Prophecy? Will it be the hero of the AWF? We're going to find out at Glory Day 6. But folks, we're going to hear from John Blackos.
You know what? I'm not even mad. I'm not even mad at all. Because, yes, I lost thanks to Mr. Rivers once again, but you know what? Maybe I deserve to that ass kicking. Maybe, oh maybe, it's been a long time coming for Fisk to kick my ass because I called you a fish when you won that title from AJ back on Superstar Mayhem. So you know what, I'm not even mad because at the end of the day I still get what I fucking want, and that is at Glory Days 6, me versus Lewis Rivers inside Hell in a Cell for the United States Heavyweight Championship. I still get that match. We have only 2 episodes of the AWF left before Glory Day 6. I still get that match. And you know what? I'm gonna let out all my grievances right now, since this is the last episode of Uprising and you're listening to the man who has been on this brand since he has debuted here. Ever since 2016, I have never left Uprising because it is the premier brand of the AWF. Just like the United States Championship is the premier championship of pure wrestling that the AWF has. And if it wasn't because of me, Lewis, that championship would still be in the hands of the likes of Rave and Tyler Watson. Because until dawn, Martin lost that championship. That championship was ignored. That championship meant nothing to the AWF until I won it back and put it on the pedestal it should be. And that's why Hell in a Cell is going to happen, Lewis. Not just because we've been at each other's throat for a while. Not just because you screwed me out of the World Championship back at the Royal Rumble. But because it needs to happen. There needs to be an exclamation point at the end of the Lewis Rivers, John Blackos story. And trust me, I have been in cell matches before, but never at this higher stakes. I have been in the cell before, and I'm capable of things that you can't even think of. And that's why, Lewis, once you enter that cell with me, and once that door closes, you better get ready to pay a medical bill higher than you have ever seen before, because I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win the United States Championship for a third time and be the last AWF United States Championship. A belt that has been held by such greats as Sean of Carter. Sean of Carter. He's probably gonna get mad at me for that, but I don't care. I'm exhausted after that match with Fisk. Sean O'Connor Brent Thompson, AJ Bronze, Bobby Mitchell, Scott McShannon, Ian Morgan, hell, even Envy. Because the legacy of not only that United States Championship, but also the legacy of my career here in the AWF will also be on the line, because I've said it 1,000,000 times before and I'll say it 1,000 times again. But whether you like me, whether you love me, whether you hate me, whether you despise me, whether you think I'm disgusting, whether you think I'm the funniest guy in the room, whatever you think of me, I am still one of the best to ever do it in this generation of car wrestling. And that's what I'm going to prove at Glory Day 6. That's who you're going to get, Lewis, at Glory Day 6. One of the best car wrestlers to ever do it this generation. And you won't get no fat bitch Flair or no fat bitch Slayer. Nah. You'll get the original. You'll get the OG. The same man that stepped his foot in the AWF back in 2016. You'll get the French phenom, John Blackos, and nothing else. I'll see you inside Hell in a Cell.
And folks, it is main event time here for the final Uprising.
Indeed, and here comes the winner of the Royal Rumble, the man that has the fate of the AWF, the fate of Uprising in his hands, TJ Nicholson.
One half of the Call All-Stars World Tag Team Champions. Like you said, looking to add another championship at Glory Days, looking to add the AWF World Championship. The fate of Uprising is on his hands. But tonight, he's got to go through the murderer. Perhaps the most dominant individual we've seen in AWF history, Mason Kronik.
Indeed, probably the toughest test TJ Nicholson has had to date. But, you know, if anybody has shown that he can rise to the occasion when possible, it is that man hoisting the Call Stars World Tag Team Championship. He's found some allies along the way. It was looking quite bleak earlier tonight. Of course, JMI, John Blackos coming out on the losing end of their matchups. AJ Young started to turn the tide. It is now up to TJ Nicholson to ride the wave of momentum all the way into Glory Days and hopefully conquer the AWF champion. But here tonight, he does have a former world champion in his own right in Mason Kronik.
TJ Nicholson, he looks fired up and ready to go, and he's going to have to be to get through this. It's not just about getting through this tonight, it's about what's left when he goes to Glory Days and faces Brian Stone. The intent tonight of the Killer Clan Prophecy is to try and take away from their opponents what they can. We've seen that. We saw that in the last edition of Uprising in that Call All-Stars Tag Team Championship match. It wasn't about picking up the victory. It was about inflicting damage and punishment. And from what I am being told, this matchup, this main event, there is going to be no disqualifications. There's going to be no countouts. There must be a winner tonight. This is not going to end by disqualification. And of course, that's fantastic. But what does that open the door for?
Indeed, you gotta imagine that amendment very much favors Mason Kronik and the Killer Clan Prophecy. And Mason Kronik, known for violence, known for extreme, known for inflicting maximum punishment on his opponents. So now that the floodgates are open, is TJ Nicholson even going to make it to Glory Days?
I'm not quite sure. Mason Kronik, a man, I'll be honest with you guys, I never thought I'd see Mason Kronik back in an AWF ring. Mason Kronik was the AWF World Champion in the main event of Glory Days 5. He lost that championship to John Blackos, and a loss for Mason Kronik that doesn't happen very often. And then we saw Mason Kronik, he disappeared. He went away. From what I had heard, he retired from the industry. No one expected Mason Kronik to come back. And not only did he come back, but he aligned himself with Brian Stone, a man who he has had brutal and bloody wars with over the Extreme Championship.
Indeed, forming quite a super team with Brian Stone, Fisk, the Disciples, and William Jackson. And now here we are, the main event, the final main event for AWF Uprising. What a hell of a match this is going to be.
Here we go. Mason Kronik chops to TJ Nicholson here. Mason Kronik, by the way, he does not have a match set for Glory Days. And I bring that up because there is nothing that he has to hold back on here tonight. He doesn't have to think about, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't do this because I got Glory Days coming up. He's got all his focus on tonight and tonight only. TJ Nicholson has all the pressure in the world. He's got to focus on Glory Days. He is main eventing Glory Days against Brian Stone to try and win that AWF World Championship. He recently took over running Call All-Stars. He holds the Call All-Stars World Tag Team Championship. There's a lot going on if you're TJ Nicholson.
Indeed. There's a lot going on right now as Mason Kronik drops him stomach first onto the barricade. Like you said, it's a very valid point. Mason Kronik does not have a scheduled match at Glory Days, which means he can inflict all the punishment he wants. He's just stomping on the hand of TJ Nicholson.
Throwing TJ into the barricade. And folks, we've seen throughout the night, we've seen some physical matches here tonight. We've seen some wrestlers on the receiving end of some big beatdowns. Those who've been dishing out those beatdowns are those who are aligned with the Killer Clan prophecy. That just speaks to how much power and how dominant those men are.
Indeed, but it's men like TJ Nicholson, it's men like AJ Young, men like John Blackos and JMI who, are able to stand up to them.
Kronik now, he's got TJ up and dropped him onto the ring apron. Oh, jeez. We just put the table back together.
So now we're going to break a record as we're breaking tables.
Oh, dear God. Throwing him towards the table. His legs bounced off the announce table.
Not great at all.
Oh, dear God. Dropping him on the table. I mean, in one way, it's good it didn't break, but some would say the table breaking would break his fall, just eating all of the table.
Mason Kronik still not done. Jaw-jacking at TJ Nicholson.
I will note, though, we've seen throughout the night, we've made observations about who was at ringside. There's no one at ringside here in this one.
Not at all. Everybody's either beaten up or, you got to think what we saw, in our last match. AJ Young and JMI just took out Reverend Joseph, who's been arguably the glue of the Killer Clan prophecy and the Disciples since the very beginning. So you got to imagine that was, not in the Killer Clan prophecy's game plan at all.
Yeah, absolutely not. I do know while we were in break, Reverend Joseph, he was stretchered out of here. You got to believe going to the hospital.
What's the hospital?
Yeah, well, medical facility.
There we go.
You got to wonder, did the prophecy leave with him? Are they still here?
Who knows? But, you know, if they're not here, at least that gives TJ Nicholson more of a fighting chance against Mason Kronik. But if there was anybody who, you know, could still thrive in one-on-one environments, it's the murderer.
Absolutely. Mason Kronik is an individual who doesn't need backup.
He's a man advantage in himself.
Absolutely. And now using the ropes, TJ Nicholson with a suplex to Kronik.
Indeed, TJ Nicholson holding his own thus far against the murderer. Mason Kronik is a man who dominated AWF for pretty much all last season. Walked into Glory Days with the AWF World Championship and losing effort against Sean Blackos. And now he's back to be the ace, the smoking gun for the Killer Clan Prophecy.
It's a very dangerous thing. Mason Kronik is not big on respect of authority either. Before he even became the AWF champion, he had no problem beating the hell out of Sean Walsh and beating the hell out of GMR, who at the time was the general manager of Uprising.
Indeed, Mason Kronik, no respect for authority, no respect for order, but has never needed an excuse to hurt people. And Mason Kronik fighting out the count of 1 for that pin attempt.
TJ shocked. He thought, you know, if not have the victory, maybe at least a 2 count. He missed the enziguri, and Kronik followed it up with that big lariat.
And again, another lariat to TJ Nicholson. Turning the Rumble winner inside out and just dropping him with the sit-out spine buster.
Mason Kronik feeling real good right now.
TJ Nicholson is not left-hand shots for Mason Kronik.
TJ sweeping at the leg, able to get out of harm's way for at least a moment here.
Again, another clothesline for Mason Kronik. I mean, if anything, TJ Nicholson, despite, you know, what we mentioned earlier about Mason and Kronik having pretty much nothing to hold back in this matchup, in a no-rules environment against someone the size of Mason Kronik, it does give TJ Nicholson, you know, somewhat of a preview of what to expect for that Philly street fight at Glory Days. Somebody makes it to Glory Days.
Yeah, well, he might not if Mason Kronik uses these steel steps, which unfortunately he's no stranger to.
Just waiting, and TJ Nicholson catching steps right to the face.
Now he's putting those steps into the ring. TJ Nicholson up to his feet. Kronik send him back into the ring.
Now, Kronik with that crossface.
Got the crossface locked in. We've seen him utilize that in the past to pick up victories, and he's got that locked in deep here. TJ is in trouble.
Trying to pull his head right off of his neck, and TJ grasping, fighting for dear life.
TJ Nicholson may have to tap out here to Mason Kronik in the middle of the ring.
And managing to fight out, but I mean, you made a valid point about TJ Nicholson having to tap out. You know, I don't think anybody would blame him. As he just knocks Mason down with a clothesline, I don't think anybody would have blamed him for tapping out, preserving his energy, preserving his health for Glory Days. But TJ Nicholson not knowing to take the easy way out.
Absolutely not. Now on the top rope, TJ Nicholson, big drop kick.
Big drop kick indeed. And I don't think TJ Nicholson is done.
Big forearm strike sends Mason Kronik down for at least a moment. And now TJ's got the steel steps.
Indeed. Turnabout is fair play, using that stair steps on Mason Kronik, and the murderer, I think, is busted open.
Yes, he is. And now TJ Nicholson is looking for the smoking gun, and he's got it.
Smoking gun, indeed, cover 2, and Mason Kronik out at the count of 2.
TJ Nicholson used his best move in the steel steps, and it was not enough.
Now Mason Kronik back up to his feet, and you can imagine he's going to be pissed when he realizes
TJ tried to go for those steel steps, but he took his eye off of Mason Kronik, and Kronik firing back. He just pounced Nicholson to the floor.
And Nicholson, you know, might be forfeiting a bit of height, but he's not a small man by any stretch of the imagination.
Absolutely not. That's what gives him a little bit of a chance in this one. And oh my God, again, TJ dropped onto that ring apron.
Mason Kronik sending TJ Nicholson into the barricade. And, you know, gotta imagine, you know, TJ Nicholson hits the smoking gun, he hits the steel sets. What is it gonna take to put the murderer away as he just drops it with a dominator?
You gotta wonder, what does Mason Kronik have in mind? What is the strategy, if there is even one in this? Is the strategy just to inflict as much damage as possible, or is it strategic?
And I think that we might have gotten our answer as Mason Kronik just dropped TJ Nicholson through the table with a choke slam.
TJ Nicholson is out, folks. He is out cold right here, and this might be over. If Kronik rolls him into the ring, pins him, this could do it. And what? TJ Nicholson able to somehow get the shoulder up.
TJ Nicholson proving resilient in his own right, but for how long is the question? And I mean, you know, win or lose, Mason Kronik, I think, has done his job as far as softening up TJ Nicholson for glory days. And
Uh-oh, this is trademark Mason Kronik here, looking for Weapon X.
Weapon X to the challenger at glory days. And TJ Nicholson still fighting his way through this match.
A very short list of individuals who've been able to survive the Weapon X. You can add TJ to that very short list. Mason Kronik is not going to quit. He's going to find more ways to inflict damage.
Looking to inflict damage with those steps one more time. And TJ Nicholson, to his credit, finding his way to his feet. And again, Mason just sending TJ over the top rope.
Stomping him again while he's on the floor.
And just manhandling a guy who's composed 90% of protein powder.
Oh, dear God. Emerald Flosion on the floor.
Face first against that ring post is now, Mason Kronik has a chair.
TJ getting up to his feet, but he's not going to like what he's going to see. Oh, my God.
I mean, not to say that his steel chair feels good by any means, but I guess it's somewhat beats getting hit in the head with steel steps. Not for long.
Now throwing him back into the ring, and Kronik is going to bring the chair with him.
At this point, TJ Nicholson's head's got to be ringing like a doorbell. Is now going for the pin on TJ Nicholson, and TJ out at 2.
That was after 3 chair shots to the head, folks.
TJ Nicholson, I think, cut his open on his left eye.
Big chop sending TJ to the ground. You can see TJ is struggling in this main event.
TJ Nicholson going for a clothesline of his own and getting dropped back body like a sack of potatoes. Countering with the knee.
Yeah, TJ at the right time, able to get out of harm's way, hits the drop kick. He's got to find a way here. He has an opportunity if he capitalizes.
Now TJ with the shot, forearm, another forearm. Sling blade.
The steel steps, they roll to the outside.
Thankfully for TJ Nicholson.
You gotta wonder, what does TJ have in mind here?
What strength as he just drops Mason Kronik back first onto those steel steps. Oh my God.
You gotta do inhumane things if you want to survive the murderer.
Mason Kronik with just brutal impact onto those steel steps. And this might be a good a time as any. Smoking gun.
Second one of the match. Is that going to be enough?
And it is.
TJ Nicholson slays the murderer here on Uprising. TJ Nicholson picks up the victory. But will he be able to pick up one more, the biggest of his career, at Glory Days when he challenges Brian Stone?
TJ Nicholson proved himself here tonight. I gotta say, I like his chances.
TJ now grabbing a microphone. Let's hear from TJ Nicholson.
Whew. Oh, stop, Brian. Mason Kronik, a legend of this business, someone whose boots you couldn't lace up, even if you lost 20 pounds. And down he goes. So who do you think you are, Stone? The sheriff? Man, you're just a thief, wearing a tin star, and I'm about to make it golden. I know come Glory Days, you're gonna bring every hired gun and every lowlife from that killer clan. Well, let me make one thing crystal clear. You ain't walking into that showdown with just me. You made a lot of enemies, Stone. Let's just leave it at that. The AWF Championship, that's coming home with me. And there ain't a damn thing you or your posse can do about it. But enough talking. Let's get to the fighting. Just one last thing, Brian. There's a saying in the West. I'll see you at Glory Days.
Folks, we only have one final stop before the biggest night in AWF history. Our series finale, Glory Days 6. And for the final time, after 106 episodes, thank you for joining us here on Uprising.
Ready or not, here we come.
TJ, you know, I gotta give it to you, man. That is exactly what I'm expecting from you at Glory Days. But don't get it fucked up. You see this? All just a small piece of what I got in store. Because at Glory Days, you are finally gonna understand that the influence that I have spreaded throughout Uprising, the influence that the Killer Clan prophecy has created, it's gonna bring people you wouldn't even thought would get themselves involved. Because at the end of the day, this ain't about me. This ain't about you. It's about giving the AWF its last, final, beautiful, violent orchestra, courtesy of that Killer Clan motherfucking prophecy.
We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again.
Come on, guys. Isn't that a little bit overused? Let's try another one.
I hope you had the time of your life.
Oh, come on, that's too sad. Let's try something with a little bit of pop. That doesn't even make any sense. What else do you got? Okay, fuck off. Let's end this the right way.